So for this tutorial, we're gonna show you how to modify the command block in the codebase and add a new function. Right now, if you go to the functions tab, you're gonna see a list of functions such as get gold, get roll, etc. And the way you use them is on the triggers. Like right here, I have a trigger wherein if a message happens, when a player sends a message, a command is gonna run on your game. In this command, it's caption. It's like adding a caption to the game where it prints out the role of the player using the function $get roll. So for this tutorial, we're gonna be adding a new function. It's gonna be called get building type, and the parameter is gonna be like the ID of the building. So for example, the ID of the escape pod is 113. Right now it's not gonna work. If I type hey, it's gonna say the role is undefined, right? Oops, sorry. Yeah, the building type is, it's gonna say undefined. So we're gonna make that work, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. And the first thing you want to do really is to just open up that function list and try to search the code base for the instance of one of the functions. In our case, we're gonna search for get max stamina, and we're gonna add a $sign in front, and just to see where in the code base they exist. We know that it's not going to be in this HTML file. That is not where the logic is going to happen because it's only listing the documentation. But we know that it's most likely going to be in this event handler.js. So in this file, we see that the max stamina function is being implemented properly, and we're going to do the same basically for get building type. Now just quickly, I want to just refactor this code, this unrelated to what we're doing, but since we're here, I'm gonna do it anyway because there's a bit of repetition, and I'm just gonna use this JavaScript function object.keys to remove the repetition and just get the list of all the functions from this dictionary. Okay, so we want to add a get building type function, and we want to implement that somewhere here. Get building type, passing the entity ID. Now if you browse the code base, you're gonna see something over here called get entity. It's gonna return the entity. So usually it's very helpful to actually just read the code, and you'll get an idea of how to use, what functions to use to get certain things and to let you do what you want. So we're gonna do the same thing. Actually, we're just gonna delete that. We're gonna say if the entity doesn't exist, we're gonna return an empty string. But if it does exist, we're gonna return the get building type. I don't think this function exists anywhere else. Like we search it here, right? Get building type. Well, yeah, but yeah, it doesn't work. But we're gonna use a get type name instead. I already noticed because I already touched the code base for a couple times before. Well, a couple times understatement. But if you go to base building, you're gonna see a bunch of different functions that are already available. And if I browse down here, you can see that there's a function called get type name that returns the type of the building. And similarly, I think for items it does the same thing. Base base equip, wait, no, base food, or at least mob, get type name. Yep. So the base mob also has a function called get type name. So technically we can pass the ID of a mob and get the name of the mob that way. But anyway, so here we have get building type, and now we're gonna test it whether this works or not. So there's two ways to test it, right? Number one is to just run the game again from the UI, click sandbox and test it here, where you manually add a new command block and see if it works. This is a bit of a longer process, and in a few seconds I'm gonna show you another way to do it that's a lot faster. Get building type 99, I don't know what it is. Oh, 111. That's the ID. So this is one way to check. Oh, there you go, escape pod. So it's correct. This is one way to check whether it works or not. The other way to check is to open Chrome DevTools, click this open dedicated DevTools for Node, and just test it from this console. DG is my shortcut variable for the game instance. Otherwise you can do server.games, oh no, dg.junon, wait, Junon server.games sector that event handler. This is another way to do it, right? Or you can just like type DG, it's a shortcut. Handler.get building type. Now we know that this function that we defined, it's on the event handler class, so we can access it from here that way. And we're just gonna do the same thing as we did. Oops, where is it? Where are you? What number do 111? So we can do it here without even having to run the code, and we can already verify that it works. And we can also put a breakpoint and just type that thing, and we can see, and it will pause the execution, and you can inspect what the object can do and cannot do. So it's going to show you all the properties of that object, and I can just entity click dot, and it's going to autocomplete the available functions that we have. So if I scroll down, I can see that I can use all these functions and type get box, get type, there you go, type name. So this console is very useful for inspecting what a variable can do. So there's another way to figure out that get type name is the one that you want in this function. So now that we verify it works, we can go ahead and commit it. Let me just unpause the breakpoint. That's pretty much it. Now we just need to make sure it's added on this list as well, on the documentation. Okay, the documentation is on this main.ejs. We just add get building type. You pass in the entity ID and returns the type name of a building or entity. And now if we just reload the website, it should show that documentation. Functions, we scroll down, and there you go, get building type. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial.